Welcome to the Milestone Review and Retrospective for Week 9. We welcome our distributed team members. Everybody give them a hand. Thank you for joining us today. And we're looking forward to seeing all of the build reviews. All 4 of them are going to be shown today. And without further ado, Morpheus, we're going to have you kick it off. Come on up.
Set the bar low so the rest of us look good too.
Hello, my name is Roger Shulligan. I'm team lead for Morpheus. I am setting things up because I was late. This week we do not have a presentation, we just have a pure build. I think that's much better anyway. So, just extract this and we'll get right into it. This week we're showing off a sequence of levels we've been working on. A couple of them are still in a prototype phase, so they're quite rough. Our last level has been getting a lot of polish lately, so you'll be able to see what we've been doing there. My role for the last couple weeks has been trying to figure out how we can streamline the pipeline for building levels and using terrain. We've been using Unity terrain for quite some time, since the beginning of this project, and I hate it. So what we've been doing is we've incorporated a exporter that allows us to take those terrains, generate it into an OBJ, and then I have an artist build simplified geometry around that. And this allows us to cut holes into it and build caves, so you'll be able to see that kind of stuff. This build is 500 megabytes, so this extraction is going to take a little bit longer. We've also been working with different assets. So recently I've purchased ProBuilder, which allows us to quickly build levels inside of Unity. It's almost like 3D modeling in Unity, but it's more basic than your Maya Max. And we also export those for artists to use. We also have a nice quick brush tool that allows you to plop down prefabs onto objects. So it's kind of like terrain painting, but for anything, which has allowed us to quickly build our levels. So that's kind of an overview of what we've been doing for our pipeline. We want to speed things up. I feel like we take too long on some things. Bam, there we go. Also, I've been trying to get some audio guys on my team from outside of the school. I'm going to make sure this is lower, so there's only lower it goes. Maybe a little lower. Okay, let's see. So, we have 3 new songs. We actually have 4 in this build. The 4th one you've heard it 100 times. It's the weird mystical one. But the other 3 songs they're made by 2 people on our team. One of them's in the audience. Hi, John. And they're pretty cool. We're trying to discover the style here. So I've been referencing like Zelda-esque music. We want to go with a somber but kind of some mysticism mixed in. One of our songs has a nice rhythm to it for our forest, so that's pretty cool. And loading sucks. We need a loading bar. Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, we need to figure out our scene loading system because it's a bit harsh with big levels. We have really big, massive levels. So many things I have to think about with this game. It's ridiculous. Also, this computer sucks. Because this is like 10 times faster on my laptop. Another thing I have to consider is how it runs on other machines. So this is always interesting.
Yeah, I'm pushing to get a VR level machine put in the game.
That'd be nice.
But that might not happen to us, right?
Yeah, so and a lot of talking and not a lot of presentation, sadly, but we are trying to build our demo in a way that allows for us to easily add levels. So this first level you're going to see is our, I guess, quote-unquote hub world, and it allows you to go into a temple and you can, we haven't got it implemented, but you're going to be able to take these runes and slap them down, which opens up a teleporter, and it will take you to individual levels. This is not what we want to do for the final game, but it allows us to quickly crank out levels and test them and swap them in and out. So we want to make sure that that's always, I hope this is not broken. so a bit more somber. So we're trying to figure out architecture still, but this is lighting's another thing too. I noticed in white scenes it's quite like intense, so we want to probably build some kind of bit more dynamic for that. This is also another loading portal, so hopefully this nice. So Jerry, he's been working on the slime level. This one is one of our prototypes. This is a two-part. This is the exterior, and we have a couple designers working on this building. This building kind of makes me think of a mix between a laboratory and a temple. It's a temple on the outside, but when you get into the interior, you'll see what I'm talking about. So our demo, what we're trying to focus on is how can we make shape-shifting and as well as have the exploration. So our levels they revolve around one form. This one is going to be this slime, and then the one at the end is the wolf. We've also been playing with IK, so if you want to right here on this flat surface, shape-shifting. Not that cool. So if you walk up a hill, you'll notice that his feet he'll go sideways and his feet will try to snap to the surface. It's not perfect yet, we're still playing with it, but we want to make sure our forms aren't, straight when they're going on a slope. The hero has it too, but our model's not made for it, so if you show that, his feet kind of break. But he's trying his best, so that's something we've been doing. And Jerry's the lead designer for this part of the demo, and he's been working on a story for this.
So what we did with this is we wanted to redo the story for the slime because we had two stories that both had laboratories and the origin story kind of sounded similar. So we just completely reworked it. This is going to be an area that you get to explore, but in like a previous life or like wherever we are outside of this world, this is where we had actually killed the slime in the real world. So this would have been a boss room, so that's what we're going to try to make it look and feel like. And then come to find out the slime had actually been protecting this area, and that's its backstory now, from something that we're going to call the Great Evil. And the slime had been fighting for years against the Great Evil that is in the temple below.
So with Morpheus, we try to come up with all types of stories. There's no set lore. It doesn't really matter what the lore is. We use it as a backbone so we can design levels and make things interpretive. We want players to come up with their own interpretation of the lore. So a lot of the team members have their own ideas of what the cameras do. That's something else I want to talk about. So every team member has a different interpretation on what this game is, and we want the fans to also have that. We want people to talk about what this game means. That's why we want no dialogue and all of that. Our camera system, if you've noticed, it doesn't allow for clipping anymore. So we've completely reworked our camera, and it's a lot smoother, and, well, not for this, of course, but it's a lot smoother in general for open areas and all that. We are working on a first-person camera for this, so it's a little bit smoother. But that's an improvement we made on our camera system. No more clipping, but we need to work out the kinks for tight areas.
Yeah, what we want is a first-person camera so that in here it feels like a maze and it doesn't have the third-person camera that's clipped outside. So it's actually harder to explore the maze than originally.
So you can see he's utilizing the splitting mechanic to get in and out of these pipes. Technically, you could use the mouse,
but to activate the actual final puzzle, what you would need to do is bring the slime over, and you would need to use all three of its pieces that we have so far right here. Can't tell I have not used the slime as much. This is
you're the lead designer on this one.
well, I mean for the controller.
So I was wondering. So we have something that I don't think I implemented properly quickly, but we do have a charge jumping. I think we released it on our Twitter. And what it does is it makes the slime kind of like a spring. He compresses and then he flies straight up. But I think there's some glitches with it.
Well, one of the major ones right now is that he's auto jumping, so we're not actually charging the jump.
Okay. Yeah, our ability system, we set it up so it has priorities, and now we're going to try to break the game. Yeah, so there are some kinks with these initial levels. We want to polish them in the next sprint. So the exterior, the interior, these are going to get reworked. I'm actually going to start assigning them to artists so we can have a really nice temple. My main focus has been polishing the wolf level, which is the last level in this build.
So without the ability to get up here, we can't show off the rest of the level.
That's fun. Maybe I can pull up Todd here. Todd can break this game pretty well.
I know one way that we can do it.
Yeah. Because I finished off the last one.
Found out that the little guy squeezed through some of these tight areas.
Oh no. There we go. How you did it? Cool. So yeah, a lot of kinks. Indy's collision. Oh, you saw there. He can fit through certain grates. So one thing we want to do is have him kind of just like right through certain gates and stuff. Which means we need to change some of our doorways in this level because some of them look like you can go through, but you can't.
Yeah, so we're going to be also changing up some of the set design for this. So there will be some areas that are just for exploration, sort of like right here. This is where we would have ended up if we jumped up. And as you move through here, what we want to show off is the story of the slime fighting all throughout the temple. Because the story of the slime is that 4 people came together to try to save the village by fighting the great evil, and in the process, they ended up turning themselves into the 4 slimes that come together to form one. And so this is going to be the area where one individual piece of the slime would come in to fight and then would be killed, and they just continued to do that for years before the hero came along.
Good job.
Who needs jumping when you can split? Yeah, and then we wanted to make sure that we had multiple platforms to symbolize that there was multiple people that were used to unlock these various areas. Like this tunnel system right here is going to lead to a story area later on. For now, it just leads kind of to an empty room. So we're going to be filling this with like lore that if the player explores, they'll be able to find, but until then, you know, it's just going to remain an empty room.
Now we're approaching the end of the level, so the next. And then Dakota, you're up. Oh no, now I get to watch someone else struggle with platforming. Todd would hate this. Todd does not like platforming.
Platforming is the most amazing thing in the world.
Is it, are you under pressure? Everyone's watching.
I'm only under a little bit of pressure, but it's okay, because much like the slime, I don't buckle under pressure. I just switched out.
Skeleton's faster.
Yeah, our skeleton is like.
Hey, I forgot that we have the awesome Unity mechanics where if you sprint while jumping, you can sprint through here.
Oh dang, can't get it. Yeah, that's one thing with Unity that kind of bothers me too is you have 2 options with movement. You have your, well, I guess you have 3, but the 2 main ones are character controller, which only gives you a capsule collider, and that's not correct.
Good job, Dakota.
Dakota, you ruined it.
The level of infinite despair.
Oh, it's deep level.
I guess we can't show
Very
off
deep
the
level.
grand finale. That was the whole that was the whole thing. Oh, well.
I don't know what happened there.
The slime team, best team.
Culture
That
World,
sucks.
50 units.
I was really excited to show that off. There was a lot of work that was done.
I think I know what happened with us.
We're
Yeah.
saving
When
it
I was
for-
looking at it last night, after you had that mission, everything was moved down and to the mesh, so the players probably still down there.
Cool.
Yeah, well,
yeah, make a build to.
It's only Dakota's fault. Don't worry.
Maybe we could show it off in the afternoon. I don't
Fix
know.
it for playtime.
Yeah, I can do that. That sucks.
Back to show, Roger. Anybody have any questions? All right. See you in
You guys want me to show up for your rebellion?
Yeah, go
Alright, hello, my name is Alex Watson. I'm the project lead for Operation Red Rhino. This sprint, we were working on our multiplayer bug fixes that we ran into, upgrading from 4.13 to 4.17, integrating our VIP game mode, which is actually a really cool kind of escort game mode. Nathan, our online programmer, put a lot of work into that, getting all the assets and components working for that one, so that's really cool. We have some new health and healing mechanics that Chase got implemented, as well as a slew of other things that Chase kind of just went down our product backlog and tackled anything that he saw that stood out to him. And then work on 3 separate nodes are now implemented and ready for playtesting. Because the big news is our multiplayer works now. The programming team finally got it down to whatever was plaguing our build. Yeah, it was great. It was great. I'm not sure what they did. I just kind of let Nathan, Chase, and Charles kind of figure it out amongst themselves, but they did it, and big thanks to those guys. And that wasn't all they got done, because like I said, we got the VIP game mode in. Nathan was tackling this one. The attacking team must escort their leader to an extraction zone to win that node. The defending team must just eliminate that enemy leader. All of those are in there. It's ready to be tested on the map that we had created last semester for this game mode. So that is a really cool thing that we're going to be testing today in the playtesting session. And then here is the list of things that Chase kind of tackled, as well as getting a lot of bug fixes and optimization in there. He increased the leader sprint duration. This is something that Eric worked on. Eric's been working on kind of balancing our roles and our weapons. So some of this stuff is stuff that came from the systems design team that just got implemented by Chase this last sprint. Medics can heal past the max heal point now, so I'll show that off later on. That comes with our new health system and the new way that our health works. Just some more tuning on how the medic moves based on how we felt the medic should be implemented. We felt he should kind of bound between cover and stuff like that, so we decreased how much he could sprint, how long he could sprint, but he moves faster to kind of incentivize moving between cover and going to pick up down to allies. And the Grenadier will take less explosive damage. Along with the explosive damage, Chase went in and fixed an issue we were having where grenades could damage a player through a wall, so he went in and actually got it in there working the way it should be, where if you take cover behind something, the grenade's not gonna damage the player. And then he remapped F for our interact, which I thought was just gonna be as simple as changing like a blueprint or something like that, but no, he had to go in and I'm not sure what he had to do, but that's all set up for us to get our lean function in. It was previously mapped to E. Now we're going to have our lean on Q and E, and that's all set up, so that's going to be getting in. That's what we're going to be looking forward for next sprint. We have some art progress here. Tristan's been working on our MP49, I think it's Mat 49, sorry, Mat 49. He got the base model done. So he's going to be working on texturing that and rigging that this next sprint. And then this is from Brenda. This is Brenda's character that she's been working on. So those things are also coming along very nicely. Here's the Saboteur node that our online designer Caleb's been working on. I had talked to him at the beginning of the semester. We had a map that Dom designed last semester. It was the other team's Saboteur node, and the objective on that was to breach a closed-off mine shaft, basically. And we talked about that map leading into our second movement node, which we could have as the underground mine. And as you work through that, you come out the other side. So this is actually the map that he's designing, where you're coming out the other side from that mine. He's going to be working in some tunnels and stuff like that. He just wanted to get the village laid out. And we're going to be playtesting that and making sure that the spawn points kind of make sense and that that village plays out the way that he wants it to be. This is the allied base node. This is the, again, the second base node to go along with the first one that we had last semester. We're again going to be testing this one out. This one doesn't have a game mode associated with it yet, but Nathan has the outline for that one. So if that's the one that he decides for this next sprint that he's going to be working on, we could be looking forward to testing that actual game mode on this map next sprint. I'm not sure what his plans are for the game modes moving forward. And then this is the Grenadier node that the other Alex V has been working on. It's kind of like a payload game mode. The map is actually pretty cool. He has the ally or the attacking team spawning kind of down here, and the defending team spawning up in this village. And the attacking team just kind of has to move a payload to these 3 points, which are marked with these little white dots right now. And each time they move the payload through that zone, they actually earn a respawn for their team. So it's kind of cool where he's working on kind of paper prototyping the game mode right now so that we can pass that off to Nathan as well, and that'll just go into kind of his backlog of game modes to pick and choose from as he sees fit. So I'm actually really excited about playtesting this one as well today. This one looks pretty cool, and the different zones that he has marked out, you can see one of them is kind of all of village. The one is kind of out in the jungle, and that has like 2 bridges that the 2 teams can attack at the same time. And then this like abandoned warehouse over here is also pretty cool. So I'm really excited about that one. And that's actually the end of that. Now I can jump into our build, now that we finally have a working build. Turn this down. So I'm going to jump onto Caleb's map, the second Saboteur map, just so we can show that off. And I'm going to choose the medic class so that I can show that we can heal over the heal point. You'll be able to see the heal point down here when I throw a grenade and kind of hurt myself. I'll just throw it at one of these walls here in this village. The game mode that he's going to be working on for this is kind of a standard 2-bomb game mode. If you see, I did damage myself down. Actually, you can't see it. It's cut off on the screen. That sucks unless I can send it into window mode real quick. Smaller. It's not going to get smaller for me. Yeah, I can't even drag it up or anything. That sucks. Alright, well, I guess I'll just have to explain it. So down in the corner, our health bar is broken up into 3 separate categories. There is your actual health, which is represented by a green bar. There is your max heal point, which is represented by a yellow bar, and then there is your totally lost health, which is represented by a red bar. If you take all the way down to 0 health, you're dead. If you take down a little bit of health, your max heal point will slowly tick down to meet that, and that is the window that you have to pop a health pack or some sort of healing item. So it incentivizes a player to either have to make the decision to stick into a gunfight if they've taken damage, or back out, take a breather, use a health pack, do something like that, because they're on a time limit based on how much damage they took. So right now, again, it's kind of crappy because you guys can't see, but I'm taking damage right now, and my max heal point is ticking down. I'm at about 75% on my max heal point. I'm at about 50% on my actual health. So with a normal class, I wouldn't be able to heal past the max heal point, but since I'm a medic, I can come over here and use this health pack. This is another thing. Chase is going to be working on binding this to a key so that you don't actually have to throw it at the ground. I actually just healed up past that max heal point. So that's kind of an example of what sets the medic class apart from the other ones. He's also going to be working on the ability to heal your teammates as a medic, so you'll be able to use those health packs to actually walk up to a damaged teammate, and even if they are already healed up to their max heal point, can't go any further, you'll be able to walk up, you'll be able to heal them, reviving dead teammates. That's all stuff that's just in our backlog, and Chase is kind of burning through those and he's reorganizing those as he sees fit, as far as what's most important, what he feels can go in based on our releases. Now that we have the big thing done, which was our multiplayer bug, they're going to be cranking through that stuff pretty quickly, because they're already going way faster than I could have expected, even with the huge hiccup that we had switching engine versions. So that is what I have. Thank you very much.
Just have your presentation.
Yeah.
Go back to your patch notes page. I really liked this. This was nice to see. I have a question. So when you say increase leader sprint duration by 25%, what are the numbers behind that?
So,
You want me to talk
yeah,
about
go ahead,
that?
Eric. You can come up here if you want, so you
Yeah.
can actually get into the microphone and stuff. Eric's been handling all of our numbers and everything. So,
Alright, so just to kind of dive into what some of these numbers mean, what we have right now in the engine is the programmers laid out all of the mechanics to each of our soldier classes, and they're all in there as their own separate templates, so we can modify each one as need be without affecting every single class. So for what you mentioned with the increased leader sprint duration, so what that means is we took the base value of the leader's sprint speed, and we obviously increased it by 25%. I think it was set to like 5 meters per second roughly, and that's on top of the base walking speed. So a lot of this is just number tweaking right now, because basically our systems are in a sort of beta phase. It's just a lot of number tweaking from here to try and find the sweet spot of where everything fits and functions in a balanced manner.
So it changed to like from 5 to like 6.25 or
Yeah, roughly that.
The reason I ask is one of the things you'll see, and again, I like the patch notes idea. One of the things you will see debated by all players is when developers put out numbers based off percentages.
Yeah.
They get read two different ways, right? And people will argue that you're cheating me out of some kind of thing because
Some further knowledge.
you implement, well, not even knowledge, just like you implemented the numbers this way. They calculate it differently based off percentage math and think they're getting cheated out of a movement.
So,
or
so you're
cheated.
saying we should use like exact numbers?
A lot of times, you just got to kind of feel that out. Like an interesting one, like Grenadier 50% explosion damage, right? Like if it went from 100 to 50, nobody's going to argue with that one. But it gets weird when, I'm trying to think of a good example I've seen recently, but it does get weird, especially when you start to do things like additive percentages and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger ones that does that is Overwatch. Because
Yeah.
I know they use percentages sometimes in there.
Yeah, I just kind of curious that, yeah, they're all percentage based.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like programmers, for whatever reason, game development sometimes just do percentage math really wrong. We'll say we increase this by X%. It's like, well, you can calculate that a couple different ways. It's like X% of the original, or is this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just curious. Cool.
Alright.
But yeah, I really like the patch notes kind of feel for this.
yeah, a lot of what Eric's been doing is just working on kind of defining what use case he wants each role to kind of fit, and then balancing both what their weapon characteristics are and their role characteristics, and kind of how they move about the map and stuff like that, the type of damage that they do.
Well, and it shows, I like it because it shows it's like things that have changed and what they were and what they are is really cool.
Thank you very much.
Not sure if that was specific.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Bart Driscoll, project lead of Marine Rebellion. Slide this week, not much on it, more of a joke than anything. Though, the only important slide is our goals this semester, or sorry, this sprint, was mostly to get as much done on the new map as possible, because we want to spend most of the next coming sprint polishing that map, getting it done, with the little things done, and getting the gameplay as perfected as possible. So, yeah, those were our goals. Getting the new map in engine, up to scale as best we could, set designing it best we could with the prop we have now. We're getting it more next sprint, and then background tweaking of the abilities, whatever other work we had for the programmers and designers. So, it's been up this whole time. So, here is our new map. Like I said previously, we were kind of unhappy with how the old temple map had come out. We felt that it was a bit boring with its long corridors and not a lot of exterior areas. So now we kind of flipped it with having very subtle interior areas with a lot of exterior area. What we're going to have with this area is be more of an open kind of relaxing, studying kind of garden. It is a bit big right now. We're going to scale it down pretty soon, just to have more moment-to-moment gameplay between the two bases. Besides the above-ground area, we have an underground area that is connected on both sides of the garden as well as the backs of the sort of temples. And what's going to be down here is going to be sort of like a crystal cave that the people built the temple on top of. They're supposed to be like magical crystals that they're using for different kind of magical purposes, whatever. Snorting it, I guess. I don't know. So what we're trying to do down here is have a kind of open feeling cave, but have a bunch of rocks in your way to break up line of sight and squeeze you into more combat. It's not meant to be more of the combat area, it's supposed to be more of a transition area while trying to get up to the different bases. The main point of this map is to be capture the flag, getting the flag from one base over to the other one. The scale is weird. You believe me, it's the other base. You believe me there?
Hacking.
But yeah, we're going to be working on this a bit more, getting it perfected, hopefully today and the next week, getting it ready for more gameplay testing, seeing what needs to be changed with the characters, with the movement, with the damage. There's a lot of systems designed from this point on, as well as other polish. Any questions?
Thank you. Everybody else played their game while yours was running in the background.
No. Close.
Alright, ready for voting?
We'll see.
Hi, good morning. My name is Austin Harrington, lead designer for Monster Vault Entertainment and creator of Call Center Simulator. We've had a pretty interesting sprint, so I'd like to talk about it a little bit. To start, our designers have been working on a new environment. One of the things that we are finding with the place we are in development is we are starting to look for money, and we're starting to work on marketing. And so we needed something that looked a little better, that used our assets in a better way to show off what the game's going to be, so we can get people in the headset and see if we can get anyone that's really interested in it. As you can see, there's a very different layout than we had before. I think it looks a lot prettier. We're doing some interesting things in terms of just the layout relative to what we had before. I think it's coming along great. Obviously, some of these assets are not textured. We've been making a big push for texturing assets. So let's show it off a little bit. One of the things that makes this game fun, I should say, is personality, right? When you go into an office, you're going to see, you know, mugs that belong to the office. You're also going to see mugs that people bring in and put on their desk. You've got an I Heart Mom mug, Coffee Makes Me Poop, I Heart Pens, and a couple business ones. Beyond that, we do have some fun little things for older UAT students, more seasoned. We do have a Dungeon Destroyers Cup, which was my boss Mike Demo. That was one of his projects. Again, Monster Vault, Call Center Simulator, etc. Obviously, we are also working on getting smaller assets, detail assets into the environment. So stuff that's going to be used less, but that's going to make the environment pop a little more and add some diversity. So things like fire extinguishers, a dartboard, books, and all of these will be interactive. So you'll be able to throw darts at a dartboard. You'll be able to use the fire extinguisher with a particle effect. You'll be able to open the front page of a book and throw it around, etc. You'll be able to put on the headset and listen to funny mock calls from a call center. More art. So as you can see, we've got a computer tower, we've got boxes, we've got drawers, and more art. So this is something that we've been working on recently. This is a very social game, and so we've been looking for interesting ways to do things socially that we haven't seen in games before. One of the assets that we really wanted to do was the easy button. Do you guys know the easy button? You get it at Staples, it says easy on it, you press it, that was easy. It's stupid. It's one of those things that if you see it at Office Max, it makes you groan a little bit. We wanted to take that to the next level. So we didn't want to get sued by Staples. We created the emoji button. It's even more offensive and annoying. In our game, when you use this button, it'll make a sound, it will create a particle effect. So think smoke rising out of it, but it's going to be whatever the emoji is. If you've got the fire emoji, you're going to see fire emojis billowing out of it. The reason that we do it that way is this is a cover-based game. So if you're hiding behind cover, but you want to make an angry face at your buddy, we want to make or give you a way to do that. The other thing that these will be able to do is to be thrown like grenades. So you can throw it at your friends, you'll have a particle effect come up that'll be the crying emoji or whatever it is. I think it's a funny little feature, it'll be fun socially, and we are really excited about it. In terms of programming, this has been a crazy sprint for us. We've talked about it before. We had, let me think, 9-10 weeks plus the break where we were unable to access the build on school computers. We, to this day, are unable to access our Git because of the spatial integration. We're still working on that. And so we've been taking all of these builds that all our programmers have been working on and our designers and trying to consolidate them. And that has been a struggle, just because of the way that we have two different languages that are interacting with each other. It can be really tough. So we've been working on that a lot over the last week. We've also got a Dart issue we have with the gun resolved. We've made significant progress on our global movement system, and we've been working on a wraparound UI so that people have a start menu essentially. Global movement we were hoping to have in the build that I'm about to show. Unfortunately, it broke the build 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. We've been working all night. So let's see what this is. It says it's live. Okay. We call my team because Twitch is slow.
They in the NT lab?
They are in the NT lab. Let me just see. That was waiting pretty well. Hey, let's demo. Okay, we're ready. Is this what we've got? Okay. Okay, I guess we don't have a playable build. So we're gonna do a fly-through. This is the fun part of game development. So as you can see, we've been set designing a little bit. Unfortunately, some of our assets also broke this morning, so we don't have our headsets in right now, or that you can see they're actually hovering within the computers. They are not placed as where I had wanted them, unfortunately. But you can see the environment. Unfortunately, we do have post-processing turned off right now. That was another issue we were having this morning. You can kind of see. So there is, if the camera will move left again, there is this blue thing that is hovering. So one of the things, we talked about it before, with our movement system is it is our global movement system is cover-based. And so we have to have spaces that people can move to, almost like a grid. And so right now there's a concept we're using that we were hoping to be able to demo today, where you will press a button. Currently you will see this, the asset isn't done for the movement spaces yet. You'll be able to see all of the relevant spaces that you can move to. You can highlight them and select them and then only move there. This is a big step forward for our team, a big step forward for our movement system. So hopefully we'll have that working later today. If anyone wants to come and play test, we'll certainly have it for the next sprint. Beyond that, again, you can see the environment. You get a good feel for what we're trying to go for. This is still in process, but I'm feeling really good about it. So moving into the next sprint, I feel like we are in good position in terms of technology to finish strong. The team is really committed to getting this game done, and we are very excited to show you our sprint 4 progress. Thank you so much.
All right, any questions for Austin?
Questions for me?
we are.
Hello, I'm Roger. I'm up here again to show off our wolf bubble that I'm proud of. Loading, I guess.
Well, Rain the Rebellion isn't running in the background anymore.
What was that? Yeah, it was broken for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why.
So everybody else done.
Alright, it's all yours. You don't have the controller, but that's fine. We made this for PC too. So, the reason why it broke before was because he was underneath the terrain here. So what I mentioned before is we build our terrain with Unity, and then we export it, and I have an artist build around it. And this is one of our new songs. This is the one made by John. Yeah, John's still here. Okay. No, there's no shape-shifting. Cool. There's some pretty cool things that we're able to do now that it's a mesh. So if you go over to there, you'll see that there's this hole in the ground. And using ProBuilder, we were able to quickly build, it's a rough thing I threw together, a underground temple/cave. So go ahead and I don't know if we can get out of there yet. So let's explore first before we come back here. With our Quick Brush tool, we were able to plop down these trees easily on our custom terrain. We wouldn't have been able to do that without that tool. And it has some really cool settings for us to change like rotation and scale and all that, so it makes it nice and easy. There is a pollination puzzle that Dakota put together, but again, we have another issue with this. But we can show off what we've been working on. So, yeah, one big thing that we're going to start doing with shaders and all that, you can see if you look at the water here, it's not really moving. Cooper has an idea for that. He's going to be making that look really good. Jesse Carey, he's been working on our tree. Get that nice look over there. I threw down a bunch of bushes on the top because he hasn't finished that part, but everything else is there and ready to be textured and all that. This tree is mechanical, so you can see like right there in the middle, that's going to be like metal plating, and this tree is kind of a weird like mixture of nature and machine. And when you get into that level, you're going to be able to manipulate each layer, which allows you to explore up and down until you get to the top, which is where you beat the level. There's also some surrounding temple structures we're going to be able to build now. You can see over underneath the tree, it's all like white boxed. That's using Unity cubes. I want to get rid of that concept for making levels because it's painful. It takes them weeks to do. ProBuilder, you can extrude pretty easily. But yeah, go to the cave now. Yeah, this is part of our pollination puzzle. So we'll be able to walk through that, or you can walk through that, and it changes the flowers on him, so he can emit a different color. And that's used for some of our puzzles. There's another one over there for purple. This is something we were not able to do before, was to be able to go underground, and that's why I wanted to change our pipeline. So we're going to start building underground caves and temples and structures and try to get our wolf functioning sprint. We did have some stuff to show off with that, but shape-shifting broke. Just for your scene.
Good job, Dakota.
Alright.
So yeah, that's what we wanted to show off.
So Roger, number 2. You manipulate the tree as if it's a puzzle
It's like
so
a
you can access.
it's like a rotating.
Twist it.
There's like 3 layers, and the concept that I want to push is you can rotate the bottom, and that unlocks a different passageway up to like a different compartment in the tree that you couldn't get to previously. So it's kind of just a spatial puzzle of going up and down until you're able to get to the top. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta get the shape shifting fixed.
Alright, he's saying great wrap up. Round of applause. I'm really excited about seeing your work in the game. Remember, protesting starts at 3:30 today, so you'll have 2 hours to get it all done. Probably going to be some crazy little extra credit things, so be sure to be here and make plans to play test every single one of those games. Alright, anything remaining for you? Leads, we'll see you soon. Get all your planning done and we'll see you